Hi everyone, welcome back to CricketBatInfo. It's Mark here. If it's the first time you're joining the channel, please watch the video to the end so you know what this is all about. I basically do a review of the bat that's in front of me. Bats are sent in by owners, and that's what we've got today. Today we are doing a Gray-Nicolls Legend 2021-22 edition from Australia, straight after this. Just a quick reminder to everybody that this bat you see here, the HR Sports with the custom stickers that I created and the gloves, is all up for a giveaway. There's a video that I'll put the link to right up in the corner here, that one. And you can enter it just by commenting, liking the video and being a subscriber. And it's going to be given away at 10,000 subscribers. We're a while away from that. So if you can, start sharing the video so we can get more subscribers, and then the bat will be given away. Let's get on with the video. Okay, firstly, thank you very much to Kunal for sending this in. He's purchased the bat from Kingsgrove in Sydney, and he said it cost him $948. Now this is actually pretty good, because what I first want to show you, I've got the website up here. This is Gray-Nicolls Australia. And if you scroll down here and you come down to Gray-Nicolls Legend, and the retail price is $13.99. I'll zoom that in for you. So he's actually paid a lot less than that at $948 delivered. This is the exact model we're looking at today. Same stickers on the back, you'll notice. And we'll have a look through that. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to go and have a look at that yourself. So firstly, this is the bat. Full disclosure, I've actually had to record this twice because the first time I did it, it had no sound. And I packaged up the bat ready to post to him before I checked the sound, so silly me. So that's the bat there. It's already been oiled, even though he's a collector, they went and oiled it anyway. And it's actually quite a thick preparation of oil for knocking, so it's actually impacting the rebound on it a little bit. But if I just run my finger along it, I can actually see the oil beading on it. So it's definitely the right amount of oil. Just normally we do bats on the channel that are brand new. So this is the bat. And you can see here, it's this Matrix Plus grip, they're calling that, but that's that super grip one that's made of silicone style. Might as well start at the tip and we'll work our way down. So we've got here, just like any Gray-Nicolls, 3 rubber inserts there. Like all Gray-Nicolls bats, you've got the Australian flag. That's not necessarily the key indicator that you've got an Australian one. The thing you need to actually look for is one stamp with one letter, not 2 letters. So, and also you'll have an A down there. That means Class A willow, which is a different thing to grading. That's the class of willow, and then you have your grades, whatever the manufacturer or the willow merchant chooses to call the grades. So this one is obviously the top grade, which they're calling on the Gray-Nicolls website Finest Grade 1 English Willow. So this is their top willow. There is a model above this, which is the Legend Gold, which I think is $1,700 or something like that. Apparently pricing on Gray-Nicolls and most of the bats, due to cost of living and everything, might jump 20% for next season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grains across the front. Reasonably straight. There is a tiny, tiny little wobble in them if I hold that up for you, but they're fairly even and straight. Looking at the grains through the toe, you can see here there's a slight little skew off to the right-hander's outside edge, and there's a tiny little bit of marbling down here, but generally really nicely even spaced grains there. They're not really too bad. The shape itself is pretty much similar to a lot of the bats we had through for this season. You can go back over the Gray-Nicolls catalogue. I think there's well over 25-30 reviews in there. Obviously being an Australian-based channel, I get more Australian-based Gray-Nicolls. And you can see here we've got a big mid swell that actually extends a little bit lower and a little bit higher up, maintaining a bit of spine going into the handle. The handle itself They're calling semi-oval, but I'd actually probably judge that more towards full oval, that handle, and round at the top. So really nice handle. Kingsgrove put their sticker on the back of the bat, and you've got the Australian made stamp there as well, sticker as well. There's a bit of texturing that you can see there in the camera running through Gray-Nicolls. Southern Cross there, bespoke, which means it's one of the handmade ones, which is made in Melbourne. And you've also got that edition. The season before they got rid of that, and I think even myself, I sort of criticised that it looked a little bit naked with nothing down at the toe there. It's a nice shape. Now this particular Legend, because it's been purchased at the end of the season, which is when you see generally all the sales and that, you're generally getting the end of the season stock. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad bat, so for some reason it hasn't sold, and you'll probably see that in the specs. There's nothing wrong with the bat, I assure you. So we'll put the bat through the gauge, and one of the first things I can see here is that it's not reaching the top of the gauge, and it's not reaching the top of the edges here. So it's actually a smaller sort of profile that way compared to some of the bats we get through here. But I can also see that it's not sacrificing any width, which is how a lot of the companies, as you've seen if you've been watching the reviews, have been achieving those big 40mm edges just by narrowing the bat. You only have to narrow the bat a couple of mil to get a edge that looks 2mm, 3mm larger. Talk a little bit about whether there's any bow on the bat. You can see there when I hold that up to the main camera that there's a slight bow there. It's not prodigious like we've seen in some bats, but there is a slight bow there. I'd call that more of a sort of pressing bow. Some bows are actually cut by manufacturers into the blade before it's pressed, and others are actually bowed through pressing. That can create, if it's bowed through pressing, potentially uneven pressing on the face of the bat. It just depends on the skill of the bat maker. Obviously, if you're going to a smaller, more sort of bespoke, as this says, arrangement with a small bat maker, or even with Gray-Nicolls, you're getting a bat maker who's actually going through the process and properly pressing it. Whereas mass manufactured bats, they can be rushing through, and you get that sort of inconsistency in bats because they're manufactured to a cost, whereas this particular bat is manufactured what you would say to a standard, not to a cost. I'll get that's the bag. They have actually, I reckon they've downgraded the bags over the years. I'll give you an example, and it's just, you know, it's cost cutting, but that's the bag that came with my own Gray-Nicolls Ultimate, where you've got a picture of Stuart Cransbuehler, really nice and padded on the actual back cover. Whereas if you look at the back cover that's come with this one, it's fairly generic. So if it's my only feedback is, you know, like with all the manufacturers now, DSC, SS, doing these really nice cigar style cases, which I personally don't really care about, but there's a cost cutting measure there. It's either you give a decent case or you don't, and it sort of reflects back in what I said about the mids bat, is if you're going to do a case, do a proper one according to the bat that you're selling. So it's a minor criticism, but let's be honest, if you're buying a kookaburra, you'll be spending $1,400 and not getting a case measurement. So you can see there I've zeroed that. I'll just zoom in a little bit with my camera so you can see that a little bit better. And we'll do the measurements up here at the shoulder. 18.6, obviously no surprise to me because I've had to do this before with no sound. 40mm at the top of the splice here, which is really good. I do get worried when you see those 33s, 34s, 32s that we've had coming through. They're really sacrificing a lot of wood there. Gray-Nicolls themselves have done that in the past with some of the designs that they've had, you know, so it could potentially lead to more twist at the handle and breakages along the back of the bat, issues such as that. The edge itself, I said that wasn't reaching the top of the gauge, and it's only 36mm. So 21, which is okay. And just here at the center of the toe, we're getting about just under 25. So sort of narrowed along here. That spine doesn't go all the way down into the toe, but there's a lot more wood up through here to sort of aid balance. We'll give it a measurement on the spine, and a big shout out to whoever, I keep forgetting who you were, who recommended me buy one of these with the longer teeth. That saved a lot of time. Probably renders all the other reviews I've done inaccurate. So it's 64.4 on the spine. And lastly, we will measure the width of the bat. I'll start with the back. There has been a tendency of manufacturers to narrow bats now to try and achieve bigger looking edges. 106.9, which is not anything major. It's under a millimetre. And the front of the bat is 107.4. So the legal width, maximum legal width of a bat is 4 1/4, which is 108 millimeters in the MCC rules. The gauge itself is 110 across to allow for repair tapes, which are obviously a lot thicker than your scuff sheets and things like that. I'm not too worried about that. I only ever get worried when we see like some of the bats I've reviewed, which are really, really narrow. So there's definitely a blatant attempt to shave the bats. Do the pickup test now, and I always do this off camera because I'm too self-conscious. So to me in my hands, this feels 2.9, but it's a nice pickup. It feels weighty. It doesn't feel like it's too light. It definitely feels like the bat of a stroke player rather than an opener. Somebody who's really going to punish anything that's loose. If you haven't noticed, this is actually the first review on the new setup. So you've got I showed it to you on another thing. I've got a different backing here, and I've got this to contrast the bats a little bit better. We'll give this away. No, I'm not going to give it away. I'm just going to weigh the bat. 2.97. So it weighs, it feels to me a little bit lighter, just a little bit lighter than it actually is. And if you've got any thoughts, comments, or whatever, leave them in the comments on YouTube. I always respond. So here we go. We've got the bat in camera, and I'm starting at the toe. This is an lignum vitae mallet. It's really, really hard. So it allows me to get a general picture, because I've knocked so many bats, of what this will perform like. So in a really low position, it's not really going yet, but I do feel that there's the oil that's sort of robbing it a bit. Now if I get to mid-low, I'm starting to get a lot more action there. Right in that mid, it's going like a train. Mid-high, still going. And even just under the stickers, it's still got action. So it's a really, really fine piece of wood. I mean, we've had bats in here that sort of die about there. This has still got action up here. So I have no doubt that the bat maker has selected this piece of willow on its playing properties, not on its density, and obviously on its look. Generally with the Legends, you're looking at a combination of three things, which is density, you know, how much volume you can get for the same amount of wood. Lower density bats could potentially be less durable. Then you've got the look of the bat, all sapwood, stunning, just a tiny little thing down here. The grains themselves are not nice and pronounced. Obviously the oil is sort of bringing them up a lot more, but you can see they're nice and dark, but it's just stunning. There's no blemishes near the edge of the bat on either side. So those are the type of things that sort of you can look for even in any grade of timber, as the type of things that will give you a sort of a feel for whether you're going to be buying a decent ones. And some things can be hidden from you with toe guards, whereas with these handcrafted ones, you're getting a natural toe, so you can actually judge for yourself what you'll potentially be getting. I think it's a really nice bat, and even though we've definitely had some bats that have pinged more than that, I think this is just a little bit let down because it's had that big oiling and it really needs a knock now. Now it's just going to go into a collection and not be used. The owner himself, I said, what's your match bat? He said, oh, I've got an MRF Game Changer. You know, he's a prominent collector of fine bats, and I think he'll be really happy with this particular one. Even though it's not super big on the edges, it's still a really generous profile and a lovely piece of playing timber. So thank you very much, Cornell, for supplying that bat to the channel. And if you've got any comments, I'll see you in the comments and I'll be replying to you. And if you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, comment, and help me out that way. There's also a super thanks button that YouTube have activated for all YouTube content creators. You can directly contribute to the channel by hitting that, and I think it's a 70-30 split with YouTube, who provide the platform, but that will actually go directly to me. If you want to help me towards, you know, all the stuff that you see that I put together for the channel, you can do that, and I will definitely give you a shout out in the coming videos, but there's no obligation. So thanks everybody, we'll see you on the next video.